Hi, welcome back to another episode of Red Dot Forum's Camera Talk. I am your co-host, David Farkas. I'm joined, as always, with Josh Lehrer.
Hey, everybody.
We have Jose Rivera producing the show.
Hello.
And Kirsten Vignes in the chat, helping you guys out. So, welcome back. We are talking about kind of an interesting thing today. Not the usual.
Yes.
You know, this is kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge of terms of different systems and different items, and I don't think we can really classify it except to call it what we did, which is the Leica Underdogs. So, Josh, you want to explain a little bit what exactly we mean by that?
Yeah, so there's a huge catalog of Leica products that you can sift through today. Over 1,000 items at this point. And that doesn't include, of course, the back catalog of both recently discontinued and long discontinued items. And David and I, having worked with many Leica enthusiasts and customers and friends over the years, have started to realize there's an assortment of items, accessories, cameras, lenses, cases, straps, bags, whatever, that we really feel are not being utilized the way we think that they can be utilized, that are underappreciated, underused. It could be that they're branded for a certain system and you don't even think about it for a different system, and then you realize. So the theme of tonight, both with some of the assortment of products we have to talk about and the feedback we hope to get, is not about Leica obscurities. I want to make sure we make that really clear. This is not an episode dedicated to rare, unusual, obscure, vintage pieces of equipment. That's another show altogether, which we will do one day. Certainly on my list to do like an oddities episode.
From the vault kind of thing. Yeah.
Because I know I've seen a lot of the comments that have come in and you know, about vintage lenses and all these, you know, old systems, which are awesome. And we love that stuff, but that's not what tonight is about. Tonight is about practical applications for realistically accessible items. It doesn't have to be available brand new, but it's not about, oh, this obscure component from the 70s, if you just get this, you know, because our goal is, yes, to be fun and entertaining, but also to provide useful and relevant information, at least to the people that are watching.
Well, something that's achievable, right?
Yes. I don't want to...
Not that like one thing that they made 10 of 50 years ago that you can't get.
Right. That is certainly another episode. Again, I'm not dismissing that stuff. We could talk for literally hours about all that stuff. But tonight specifically is all about, in this case, it'll be mostly current products. So things you can still buy, meaning you don't have to look at what we're showing and go, well, how am I going to find that? That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to discourage anyone. We're trying to encourage you to think about things that Leica makes or has recently made a different way.
Maybe ways to use them.
Yeah.
Where, you know, or fitting something into your kit where you wouldn't have thought to use that at all.
Yes.
So it's sort of inspiration. Call it inspiration.
Yeah. And we obviously want your feedback, both about what we're showing, if you've heard of it, if you've tried it that way, if you've tried it a different way, if you feel there's something else. We've already gotten some great user or viewer submitted items that I've brought with me today. So certainly we want to hear from you, the viewers. If there's something that, obviously we may not have it, but we're happy to talk about anything. I mean, we could pull it up on the website or whatever.
Exactly.
So we came off the last episode. Was that our Ask Us Anything episode?
It was.
Yeah, we had like 150 questions. That was wild.
God. Ridiculous.
We talked about that for like the whole following week about all those things and got a ton of follow-up emails. And that was a lot of fun. Hopefully this episode will be a little more concise, although also equally as diverse.
Yes, I think so.
In terms of what we're going to talk about. And man, there's so much. We have to just kind of start.
Yeah.
I will let David start with maybe...
What do I get?
Maybe something, maybe this one? You want to start or you want to wait for that one?
No, let's wait for that.
Okay.
Let's do something somewhere in between.
Maybe something like...
Not super
maybe something
obscure.
like this.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've also, to be clear, so some of these things we've already mentioned in previous episodes. And if we have talked about it, like this particular thing, I'll reference that and tell you where you could find it in our playlist. So if you haven't seen all of the Red Dot Forum Camera Talk episodes, I mean, how could you not, right?
There's a dog here, by the way.
What do we have? 30? Is this number 33?
33, 32?
Something like that.
I've lost track, but we're in the 30s now.
So we have a let's call it a rich back catalog of information that is at your fingertips. If you look on our YouTube channel at Red Dot Forum, there is a playlist there of Red Dot Forum Camera Talk Live. And I believe it's sorted by date. So you can go through there, just view the playlist, and you'll have access to all of our back catalog of every single episode that we've done so far.
Yeah.
So when we reference it and say, hey, we talked about that in our whatever episode, you can find it.
Yeah. We are always we're trying to balance not being redundant, but also we realize not everyone has watched all 70 hours of content. So
How is that possible?
we're always trying to walk that fine line because we don't
Sure.
want to be dismissive of anything.
Right.
But we also don't want to go on and on and on about something we've already gone on and on and on about.
Exactly.
So it's always a balancing act, and we're always trying to adjust. So the first item that I've grabbed for David is something we've definitely covered at least once, but that I still continue to feel is a Leica Underdogs. Tell us about it.
Sure. There we go. All right, Jose, let's see that. So this, as you guys can probably tell, because it says right there, this is a Leica Apo Telit M 135mm f3.4. It is a phenomenal lens, as we have discussed previously, and I think that's good for the close-up. Let's come back here. We'll chat about it. So this is the longest focal length that Leica makes in the M lenses. So obviously there's longer lenses in the S and SL lines, but when it comes to M lenses, 135 is the longest, and this is the only 135 that's currently offered. That being said, there's also previous 135s that Leica has made through the years, and we talked about this lens as well as those 135s in our telephoto M lens episode, if you want a really deep dive into those options. Okay? But what makes this an underdog, first of all, I think most people stop at 90.
Yes.
Like mentally, with an M shooter, they're like, okay, 28, 50, 90, done.
And I'll also say this was the very, very last currently produced lens to get 6-bit coding from the factory. It was really relatively recently, within the last 5 or 6 years, I think, that these came 6-bit. So that was initially a turnoff as well.
Not this one.
This one's not.
This one's not.
There you go. So there was a long time before this lens was 6-bit coded, before you could just buy it and use it on a digital with the profile. So
But you could always, even before that, you could send it in for Leica to 6-bit code.
yes, and I think they did it for free for a little bit,
did.
and there's
They
a
did.
discount. They had a whole situation. So anyway, carry on.
Okay. Now, I think it is underappreciated because it is phenomenally sharp, good lens with great bokeh, and it's just very high performing, and it's not very big. So one, I think this could find, obviously, a use for an M photographer. That's the obvious use. But let's talk about a little bit less obvious use case. And I think you want to hand me that camera right there.
here?
Yeah.
With this.
Sure. I would love that because
Yeah,
it doesn't
this-
fit otherwise.
And this will certainly, I think, be a theme as well, as Leica's core cameras have improved in a few key aspects. That has given us either a renewed appreciation or given a new life to products that maybe weren't as useful as they are now. So that's, I think, where this lens falls.
I think, in fairness, a lot of people shied away from 135 on an optical M because the rangefinder or not the rangefinder, but the frame lines are very small for 135. And we've talked about this again in our telephoto episode about using, say, a 1.4 magnifier. Really helps a lot if you're going to be using an optical finder.
Yeah.
If you're using anything from the digital era, so an M240 or an M10 era generation camera, you can use it with the VisiFlex, which also really helps in terms of focus and composition on the 135. Beyond that, I think, and Josh and I agree, this is an SL2 with the 135 Apo. Because it is a high-performing full-frame lens, there is nothing in the SL lineup that can compete on this kind of size. So the longest lens that we have currently in a small compact prime is 90mm f2. This is significantly longer than that, with 50% longer focal length, right? That's math. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to think about that. Yeah.
So going from 90 to 135 is a 50% lengthening in reach. And size-wise, this is actually smaller than the Apo Summicrons, at least in diameter. It's slightly longer, but I'd say it weighs maybe a little less.
Yeah.
And this is a nice little package if you're looking to add a little bit more reach where you don't want the 90 to 280, but you want something longer than, say, maybe you have a 35 and a 75 prime lens. This is a nice complement.
And let's not forget that the two biggest challenging factors to a lens like this initially were obtaining a manageable shutter speed for a sharp picture and managing camera shake. Now, both of those issues are mitigated by the superb high ISO performance of everything that Leica makes now. And specifically on the SL2 and SL2S, the sensor-based stabilization, which really makes this lens very usable. I think one of the questions we get all the time is about telephoto options for the SL2. Now, obviously, this isn't a 400, but this is a very viable full frame telephoto option. You put the SL2, you put it in APS-C mode, and it becomes like a 200 millimeter lens, 203.4.
Yeah, that's right.
Give or take. So, yeah, definitely a lens in the Leica sort of lens lineup that doesn't get the love it deserves. We don't sell a lot of them, which is fine. I mean, that's
why it's an underdog.
I think that's why it's an underdog. I think people
have shied away for the reasons that we said.
Yes.
And those are all valid reasons.
Yeah.
But there's more solutions to work around those issues now than there ever was.
Yeah, it's more useful now than it ever has been. I think it's just going to continue to be useful over time. Now, the next item, while we're on the topic of M lenses, I'm going to grab another M lens for you to discuss because you're on a roll.
Oh,
that would be this one.
What do we got there?
That's the
nice.
28.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take this. I'll take this.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Now,
I'm going to try to do it in themes here, although I'm sure we'll end up being all over the place.
A little bit. Now, here, let me just show this one off to the camera here.
Here we go.
Perfect. Maybe. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at that.
There she is.
Okay, now this is the venerable and underappreciated.
Well, not that venerable. It's only like 5 years old.
Whatever. 28 Summicron M aspheric.
Version 2.
Version 2, which you can tell because this is a very different shade design than the original, than the first generation.
Yes.
Also, it's, different barrel design, slightly.
It's quite small.
It is.
And this is one of the lenses Leica redesigned in like 2014-15 to be fully digital compliant. So you're going to have optimum performance across all distances. It has the tighter tolerances, the metal lens shade, the better barrel design. You see, in the 28 lineup, I feel like you have 3 distractions from this lens. The Q system, whether it's Q, Q2, or Q2 mono.
Because it's got a grade 28.
A grade 28.
Yep.
The 28 Elmerit, because it's small, super sharp,
Yep.
high contrast, and relatively well priced for an M lens.
Sure.
And the 28 Summilux, which is this incredible flagship lens that's just amazing.
And
it's also $7,500.
And this is the middle child.
Right. This is the middle child.
Yes.
That's an excellent analogy. Literally in this case.
It is.
That just doesn't really get that much love.
It doesn't.
And it's a lens we see traded in a lot because I think a lot of people just don't appreciate it, which is fine. But this episode is all about the underdogs. And I've tested this lens with the Elmerit and the Summilux kind of
we did that recently.
concurrently.
Yeah.
And the reality is this is actually closer in rendering to the Summilux than it is to the Elmerit. It's lower contrast, a little more vignetting,
Now,
nice fall
Now,
off.
when you say lower contrast,
Yes.
I want to emphasize that that's not a negative. A lot of people think that, it's a lower contrast lens. Something very specific. This 28 f2 is a holdover from the first generation 28 f2, which was sort of a sister lens to the old 28 or 21 Elmerit 2.8 aspheric. And both of those lenses, the 21 2.8 and the 28 f2, are very sharp. They're high sharpness but lower contrast lenses. They were designed pre-digital in the film era to be able to handle high contrast lighting scenes so that you wouldn't blow out, because on film obviously you have limited dynamic range.
Right.
So if you're actually going to shoot in bright, contrasty kind of street photography situations, it's better to have a lower contrast lens like the 28 f2.
I'm going to stop you. One of our all-time favorite photographers in the world and nicest people ever is in the chat right now. Yes, Maggie Stieber. Thank you for joining us, Maggie.
I like what she said.
We are privileged to have you here.
The underdogs always come out winners.
Yeah, we agree with that. So
everyone likes to root for the underdog, right?
Yes. So hi, Maggie. Anyway, so I think this lens also with the shade off and the lens ring attached, which I don't have, sorry, it's over there. But anyway, with the shade off, it's actually quite small. It's really
get a shot
not a
of that.
large lens. Put it on an M camera.
Yeah, I
Here,
got
put it
one
on the
right
put it on the mono. Yeah, I think this is really not a lens I'd use much on the SL2. This is lens I would use really
Although-
an M lens.
Although
for
you
M cameras.
could, again, because
You could, but
It's small.
I like enjoying. I
Yeah,
enjoy
this-
using this lens on the M10R and the M10 monochrome quite a lot.
For sure.
In this case, we're going to pop it on a 246.
here we go.
These are hard to get off without a lens. Okay.
Yeah.
there we go.
Now, normally there would be what Josh is talking about is a finishing ring that screws on to the threading here to just take away where you don't have the exposed threads. And then it becomes this dimension. But that is really nice and compact. It's not that much larger than the 28 Elmerit. Definitely a lot smaller than the 28 Summilux. But in terms of performance, you're looking at something more similar to the Summilux rather than the Elmerit.
Jeffrey, you're asking the product number for the 2828. We're talking about the 28F2, which is 11672. 2828 is 11677. So this is 11672, current version of the 28 Summicron, just to clarify that. Sorry.
All right.
So anyway, super small, super sharp, love it.
Yeah.
I think those are the only M lenses. We're trying to be diverse here. Another M themed accessory that I'm going to talk about.
Well, I'm curious.
What?
Before we move on.
Okay.
All
sorry.
right. Those are just two M lenses that we chose to highlight here. I'm curious if anyone out there has any particular M lenses that they'd like to just pop in the chat and tell us what you think is underappreciated and an underdog. Actually, and I have one. There's an also while we're waiting for that.
Okay.
So guys, hit the chat. Let us know what you think is your favorite underdog M lens. And you've heard us talk about this.
Oh no, I was.
I know
hoping
you
we
were like
wouldn't-
avoided.
We weren't talking about these, but okay, you can talk about it. I'm going to time you. You have 30 seconds.
We're gonna just briefly touch on it because we
Okay.
have extolled the love
I know.
for the.
This is an underdog, or not a secret underdog.
It's not a
Okay.
secret underdog
Okay.
because we have been very
30
forward about
seconds.
this. This is this happens to be a silver chrome 90 Summit.
Silver anodized.
Sorry, silver anodized
Just- I gotta get it
90
right.
Summit.
Yes. 2.4.
2.4. This is the second version, and it's got the without the shade just to show the size. And I'll have Jose give me a close up there, if I can.
There you
Get
go.
sharp. Okay, and I'll take this off, and you can see something that we like. Very, very compact for a 90, and it's a great lens, as is all the Summit lenses, right? 35, 50, 75, 90. Now these were somewhat recently discontinued. Sad face, tears and all that. We genuinely hope that Leica will see the value and will eventually reintroduce the lineup because I think that honestly, it was discontinued for one simple reason. It was underappreciated. Those lenses were universally underappreciated and they didn't sell enough. Like I said, nobody wants these. Let's stop making them. And I think if they really, what is it? Our little chaotic quest is that we're going to convince everyone in the world that these are awesome, and you guys will have.
All
an
we've really
outpouring
done
of
is
support.
drive up the prices of them used, which is that was not our goal.
That was not our
But
goal.
anyway, that's enough Summit talk because we've talked about them so much, and I love them, but I don't want to harp on it too much.
Yes. Okay.
So that's enough for M lenses. I want to talk about an interesting and definitely underdog M lens accessory.
I'm checking that.
Do we have anything in the chat here?
I'm looking here. Okay.
28 Summicron, okay. 21 Super Angulon if you shoot film. 24, 21 Summilux. Yes, but they're not really underdogs. I think the people do understand what they do, but I agree that they're excellent, especially for low light interior or landscape shooting. Obviously, there's a whole back catalog of vintage stuff. We've pretty much talked about all of them, but
I see. Joe says the 28 Summicron F2, which is what we talked about, and the 90 Tele-Elmerit F28. I'm a big fan of the 90 Elmerit. I don't know if it's an underdog. I think people really do realize how good that is.
We're trying not to talk about stuff that we've talked to death already.
Oh, yeah.
But we still will, obviously, because we are right now. Okay. We're gonna keep.
And we also agree that the macro.
Oh my goodness, yes,
Yep.
the macro MRM 90 F4 we talked about a lot. I'll continue to talk about it.
we love it.
Version 1 or version 2, they're both one of the sharpest lenses Leica's ever made. Their version 1s are amazing deals, especially when you can get them as a kit with the rangefinder coupled macro adapter and the angle finder. Super, super nice.
And it's worth mentioning, even though we've mentioned it a gazillion times before, a lot of people were scared off of the 90 f4 macro because they see that f4 and they're like, that's an entry level lens. That's not a good lens. I want an f2. And the reality is that 90 f4 is one of the highest performing 90s in the entire catalog.
It's really only second to the 90 Summilux from my testing.
Yep.
So that should tell you something, because that lens is like $13,000. So 90 macro version 1, to me,
Underdogs.
super underdog, because they're really not that expensive for what the performance is.
And because they're collapsible, they're nice and small.
Super
We've showed it off,
Yeah.
not in our telephoto episode and in our 90 episode.
Yes. So
And in our macro episode.
yes. So we've done a lot of stuff. We
love that.
We didn't do a 90 episode. We did the telephoto.
Oh, right.
Right.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Macro episode. Macro.
If you watch the telephoto episode, I actually talk about the differences between version 1 and version 2.
Yep.
And I hold them up side by side. So if you're interested, go
And
back
we have the
watch
live shooting on the macro episode.
Yes. All right.
Excellent.
All right, we could spend the whole episode just on underappreciated M lenses, which I don't want to do.
For sure.
That's another episode altogether. Anyway, I want to talk about what's in this case. Now, if you've been shooting Leica for a long time, you already know. If you haven't, you may not know. This is the Universal Polarizer M. Now, if you shoot a rangefinder, you of course know you are never actually looking through the lens. Now, normally that's not a huge problem because you have the rangefinder window to compose and to focus. But what if you want to use a polarizer, which necessitates real-time viewing through the lens so you can view the effect of the polarization? Leica has a solution for that. Now, you may say live view, but this came out pre-live view, and it's still useful if you don't want to use live view for that. So I'm going to take it out of this cool little case.
You have the 46 millimeter adapter?
Yeah, I have all 3 adapters. First, I want to show it. Jose, can I get a? Oh, you're moving. Okay. So it is a circular polarizer, which of course you can rotate. Here we go. Am I sharp? I can't.
Nope.
Tell.
Yeah,
There we
now
go.
you are.
And okay, here we go. So this is what it looks like without any filter adapters on it, meaning there's no currently way to mount it onto a lens. You've just got the glass, which you rotate here like so. Now you'll see this flips out. So it's on a little hinge. It's quite a clever design, actually. And the reason this flips out is so that you can put the polarizer over the lens, adjust it, put the polarizer over your rangefinder, adjust it, and flip it exactly 180 degrees over your lens so the polarization effect is the same. Now, I'll show you in practice what that looks like if you give me a moment. I will locate. So when you buy these, they come with adapters for E39 and E46, and they also make an E49 adapter, which is I'm going to show on another thing in a moment. So you get the little thread adapter, and you pop it on your lens like so.
Go back to the close up there. Okay.
There we go. So then it looks like, looks like that. And then I need 2 hands for this. I'm gonna put it back together first.
Here, why don't I hold it for you?
Order of operations here.
I'll hold it for you.
And then I got it.
Okay.
Put it on like so.
Not in frame.
Now what?
Try to show the people.
Well, I told you I need like. Okay, go to the wide shot. I need 2 hands for this.
I thought everyone wants to just see a picture of your shirt.
I know, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm getting there. I have to fully unscrew this little doodad.
Yes,
make sure it's unscrewed. Here we go. Put it over.
See, I think this is
thing,
the part that people want to see, though.
right.
We'll see. Yeah.
I was gonna make sure I get it on correctly. There we go.
There we go.
Ah, got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I have to get it on the right way. So now you can see, we have the wide shot, right? Yeah. You can see the polarizer is over the viewfinder. So when I look through the viewfinder, I can rotate the polarizer and see the effect of the polarization in real time. So I'm dialing it in just right. Then I'm flipping it over my lens.
Well, under, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I have it upside down. That's all.
That's okay. It works this way.
So this is the only really viable way to polarize M lenses on a rangefinder without using live view. There are some adapters, or there's an adapter for the Noctilux that has like cutouts in it for 82 filters. That's
You can see
fine,
through the
because
back.
obviously this is not going to work for anything larger than 49. That's the largest adapter you have. So a viewer emailed me a few weeks ago and told me another application for this adapter, which I never really thought about, because when you buy them, they come with 39 and 46 adapters, but you can also get a 49 adapter.
I'm just the taker off of hoods.
And will you put that up for me?
Yeah.
And what camera has a 49 millimeter filter size is the Q2. In this case, this is a Q2 monochrome.
Do this
You can
gently.
get it on there.
We're going to try not to cross thread it. There we go.
There we got it.
Yep.
So now I'll put it on so that it is like so. Give me a moment's unelegance. So now I have a Q2 with the universal polarizer M attached. If you enjoy using a polarizing filter but don't want it for everything, instead of having a polarizer on your lens and constantly taking it on and off, which I do often, especially if I'm using other filters like color filters on a black and white camera, you can simply flip it over when you want it and flip it out of the way when you don't. It's not heavy. I know it looks a little fun. It actually looks awesome. Let me just hold it up. I love that. And I don't know if you can be able to see the effect of the, no.
No, you
Not
can't
if I put my watch behind it, maybe.
You don't have a digital watch.
Whatever. So if you do a lot of polarization, this works really, really well on the Q2 because you can just flip it out when you want it and flip it in when you don't.
That's neat.
Yeah. So I had actually never thought about this application until somebody emailed me and showed me pictures of this. And I was like, what? Plus it looks really cool when it's on the camera. So anyway,
It does.
universal polarizer, that's I'm trying to find the 13356 is the Leica catalog number for that. So
Cool.
just another random thing. And on the subject, I'm just going to cover one other universal thing, and then I'll have David viewing the chats while I do that. If you give me a second here. Another Leica underappreciated accessory that is also given the universal in the
Just
name.
to answer a question, 'cause
yes.
Robert asked me a question of what I think of the breakthrough dark polarizer.
Okay.
I like it. Well, I think we might have spoken about that in a previous episode, like landscape photography.
Yeah, and we'll do a filters episode at some point where we'll cover that even more.
But that's really great.
I'm just putting my toys back when they belong, you know.
And, I guess that a dark polarizer could be somewhat of an underdog only because people don't know they exist.
Yeah.
That basically combines a polarizer and either a 3-stop or 6-stop ND into one single filter. You cut down on reflections, you increase quality, and
I'll take that.
and it's I find it very useful, especially the 6-stop for waterfall work, because I'm almost always using a polarizer and almost always using an ND filter, and having one single filter is a lot easier.
Yes. So another universal accessory is I'm
got?
going to make the name right. The Leica Universal Wide Angle Finder,
That's
affectionately called the Frankenfinder.
yes.
I've probably talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it some more because I think it's actually an underdog.
Yeah.
Now, this finder was originally designed for the wide-angle Triomar 16-18-21, and essentially it is composed of a few different pieces. It actually has an spherical lens element inside, so the quality of the viewing experience is fantastic. You've got, let's see if I can get a close-up
There we
here.
go. That's a good.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
really good. All right, so you've got two dials on the top. One is for focal length. So the finder actually zooms effectively, although it's just frame lines. You're not seeing different viewing. So you've got frame line sets like you have, or frame lines like you have in an M camera. They're not pairs, they're single frame lines. So you have 16, 18, 21, 24, 28 frame lines. Then you can adjust, because of course, as you change your focus distance, the composition changes. You here on the second dial, you can adjust where you are focusing. So if you're at infinity, 2 meters, 1 meters, 0.7 or 0.5, 0.5 because the wide angle Triomar actually does focus that close because it's so wide. Now, you don't just need to use this on the wide angle Triomar. This is actually the only way to get a 28 millimeter optical finder as part of the Leica product catalog today. I'm sure people who are watching this know it's very, very hard to actually source vintage 28 millimeter viewfinders, and they become quite expensive.
You want to tell them what the little white
Yeah,
dot is?
I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the close-up, Jose. So the last thing that this finder had, I said it has a few features. It actually has a bubble level when you look through the viewfinder. I doubt you'll be able to see it now.
I don't think so, no.
It has a bubble level. This illuminates. So if you cover this, you'll lose the level. So if you're doing really wide-angle shots, I want to make sure you're perfectly level. You have a leveling tool built in as well. And you can see the front. It has a frame line illumination window just like an M camera has, which is pretty cool. So this is really an underappreciated and often misunderstood item.
Yeah.
If you shoot a lot of 24, 28, and you wear glasses like I do, I can't see the 28 frame lines on pretty much any M camera. This is a way around that.
Yeah.
Without having to resort to a VisiFlex or live view, especially useful if you have a film camera or an M9 or an M262, any one of the non-live view cameras.
Yeah.
So-
And the fact that it covers such a wide focal length range.
Yeah,
With parallax correction.
exactly.
And a
Yes.
built-in level, which is very important. You wonder why a level? Because if you have an ultra-wide angle lens, like 16 millimeter on the wide end of the wide angle tri-Elmar, if you don't get it perfectly squared up, you can get some, zany keystoning
Yeah.
effects and stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely nice to shoot level pictures from the get-go.
Yeah, these are really cool.
And it's very bright and clear.
Why don't you talk about this? We're at a good, or I think we're at a good point. We have
So there was a couple of lenses that people chimed in about, and I think it's true. This kind of falls in the category of not super easy to find, but definitely an underdog.
yeah.
The 50 collapsible Elmar.
Ah, yes. I get questions about that lens a lot. They've also doubled in price in the last 7 or 8 years, which is crazy. It's a very nice lens. I don't see them a lot. I don't get to shoot them a lot. I do try to play with them when they come in, especially the silver chrome
Ooh, those are super
version,
nice.
which I think is 11.823, if my memory serves.
And I mean, it's in the category of recently discontinued in the
Yeah.
last decade or so.
Yeah.
And it was also discontinued because of poor sales, because of underappreciation.
Yeah, and the reality is the 50 Summicron and the 50 Summicron are excellent. This is certainly an alternative and something fun.
And it's super tiny.
Right, when you collapse it, it's like almost a body cap size. It's really, really.
So
I don't have one to show, but yeah.
But we definitely agree that is an underdog.
And we do talk about that in our 50 millimeter lens episode in greater detail.
I mean, I'd even
Watch it.
I kind of would group in the same thing, the wide angle tri-Elmar and the mate, or the medium angle tri-Elmar.
Yeah.
I think there's a theme here. When we look at the 16, 18, 21 wide angle tri-Elmar, the 28, 35, 50 tri-Elmar, the 90 f4 collapsible macro, the 52.8. What is the theme here? Of all those lenses, the theme is these are not super fast exotic aperture lenses.
Right.
And especially in pre-digital days, or even in the early days with M8, M9, ISO performance wasn't where we have it now, which is a convenient segue, by the way, to where I'm going to go next. But now that the cameras that we have are capable of shooting cleanly 3200, 6400, 10,000 ISO, in the case of the M10 monochrome, 32,000 ISO, we no longer need f1.4 lenses to achieve pictures in low light conditions. So all these previous underdogs in the film and early digital era become so much more useful today, but because they were underappreciated previously, they kind of either have that rap still, or they're just a little bit harder to find, like a mate. A mate's not that easy to find.
Especially now, and especially one with a fresh CLA, version 2. Yeah. So David is going to talk about, I think, a camera that maybe is not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret at all. It's very well known, but something that continues to blow us away in 2021.
Yes.
Go it.
This is an M Type 246 monochrome. So this is and you can reference our monochrome episode for more details on this camera. Also the digital M, 15 years of digital M episode, we talked about this as well. So this is kind of a game changer in terms of the Leica lineage. I think the original monochrome based on the M9 was very, very good, and definitely a big step forward from the M9. But the 246 brought the monochrome into what I call the modern age. And we can even include, I would be so generous to include all M240s, any M240 generation camera as an underdog in today's world.
Right now we're talking
about this.
This, yeah.
Okay. Because here we have a camera that performs exceptionally well up to ISO 10,000. It's a low light machine. It produces nuanced tones. And because when I talk about a modern camera, it does have live view capability. That screen's dirty. We're not going to show that.
Here's the lens cone. It's embarrassing.
Oh, no.
It was clean earlier. You must have gotten mitts all over
yeah.
it.
Let me see the EVF, though.
Well, here's the thing before you show the EVF.
Okay.
One of the things I'm going to interject.
Yes.
One of the huge advantages of the 246, of course, they've depreciated quite a bit. So from a value perspective, but you have access to a huge ecosystem of M240 accessories. The M240 has been out since 2012, which means you have 9 years worth of previously bought, traded, no longer used accessories.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to throw this on here.
And one accessory that's definitely not an underdog, because it's not even Leica, is, but it's not a secret, the Leica EVF2 electronic viewfinder, which works great on 246, has an Olympus counterpart called the VF2. These things are super cheap. They work exactly the same. They say Olympus on them. That's what this is. I brought this on purpose.
Oh, did you have that?
I did. I brought this on purpose because you can get into a 246. Okay, let's say you got the camera. What, now you got to spend $600 on an EVF? No. You can get one of these things for what, $100? Whatever. I don't want to talk about what you have on there just yet.
Not yet. I'm just showing that there's other accessories available.
So I think the 246's performance holds up better than any previous generation Leica camera, save for maybe the Q. I think they're similar in that respect. I mean, David has the monochrome, I think it's the 2020 monochrome showdown, right? Where he compares this to the M10, which is a camera that's many years newer.
Yes.
And this is better in low light.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Anything else to say about that before I get onto this?
It's just an incredible value. So I would say that I say this a lot. You know, is it an or thing or an and thing? This is kind of, for me, when I look at this as an underdog, it could be an or an and. I know that sounds somewhat confusing, but hear me out. Let's say that you have an M10 color system, or an M10R, or an SL2, or a Q2, whatever it is. You could use, I think though it makes more sense if you already are in an M ecosystem. You could pick up an M monochrome for what, under
$4,000 now.
Under $4,000 for an M monochrome Type 246, half the price of an M10 monochrome. Now, I will say the M10 monochrome...
Less than half.
Less than half.
Yeah.
From a pure performance perspective, I mean, the M10 monochrome is the current low light champ, bar none, period, end of sentence, game over.
But it's $9,000. So,
but it's $9,000,
which is, is it worth it? I think so, but
not everyone needs ISO, 25,000 performance, and maybe just maybe you're okay with ISO 10,000 or 12,500, which, especially when paired with Summilux or Summicron lenses, is more than enough for just about any kind of night shooting, and you can add a monochrome capability to your kit. I'd say even less than a Q2 monochrome, right? So if you already,
way less than a Q2 monochrome.
If you already have,
I mean, there's no lens, but if you have lenses already,
that's what I'm saying. So if you already have a color system, a color M system, and you already have lenses, adding a 246 monochrome it's like adding a lens, but you get pure black and white performance out of it that exceeds that of the M10 that you have.
And like I said, there's tons of accessories, extra batteries. They're very easy to get CLA'd if you need a service done. It's not that expensive. It's modern enough that it's still very supported, but also old enough that it's depreciated a lot. So you get the performance of this camera when it was new, but you get it for less than half the price. So one of the accessories that I also think is an underdog for the 240 generation, and this was suggested by a viewer as well, is the multi-function M hand grip. Now, the 246, of course, is the only digital M that shoots black and white video, which is cool. But this
is cool,
allows you to do a few things that are unique to the 240 generation of cameras. This one's actually missing its cover. It fell off, I'm sorry. Okay. So what does the 246 do when you combine it with the multifunction grip, or any 240 camera for that matter? Number one, this is the only way to tether an M camera to your computer. See this here? This is a standard USB mini, right? Or micro, I always forget.
That's a mini.
Standard USB mini cord. You get them online for $2. They're very, very easy to find in all different lengths. You can actually tether your M to a computer. You've also got the ability to power the grip via AC power. You've got the ability to use a flash PC sync. So let me just run through the ports here real quick. So you've got, here we go. Starting here, USB for tethering, AC for AC power, and these can go with each other. Then you've got a PC sync port for like your standard strobe flash, and you've got this SCA flash port, which is actually pairs with the SCA adapter that allows you to use effectively an off-camera flash still with TTL. So in addition to these ports, this grip also has a GPS receiver built in. So it will geotag your images, much like the SL and the S cameras do, the original SL. So you've got GPS geotagging and all kinds of functionality And these things pre-owned sell for like $300. And again, the cable is generic cable. So if it doesn't come with the cable, they're easy to find. It's not something special. It's not made by Leica. So I think the 246 or any 240 generation camera paired with the multifunction hand grip.
Did you also mention this?
I did talk about the GPS.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah. Paired with the multifunction hand grip is extremely viable. And again, this grip new, I think, is like $900. Pre-owned, 300, maybe 400. I don't know if it's like perfect.
It also pairs with one of your favorite
Oh,
accessories.
and you can use it with the finger loop. We gotta love the finger loop, which I love. But that's not an underdog. We talk about that all the time. So
Yeah, so it's basically, this is, if you're looking to have a Studio M camera, this is, in fact, I would even say that a 240 generation camera is a better studio camera in terms of this accessory grip than an M10 generation camera, right? Because there's no way to
because you have
physically
tether
tether it.
shooting, you have AC power,
And flash sync.
and you have flash syncing. I mean, all these things that you can use in a studio that you can't do on an M, and you can't do as easily.
Right. I mean, to be fair, you can put a remote trigger on the hot shoe of an M10. So whether that's Pocket Wizard, Wrong Color, or Profoto Air remote, you can use that, obviously. But you won't be able to use an EVF with it. And you won't be able to do a wired tether.
Yeah. So sweet. I love this combination actually. This combo, 28 Cron. This is like all the underdogs together.
Right. There you go.
28 Cron version 2, 246 monochrome, multifunction amp. Just put the polarizer on there and the Olympus EVF, and we got
done.
like a sweet setup.
We are good.
So okay, we've talked about that. Let's have David talk about another lens from a different system, which I think is also an underdog. Oh right, yeah, also an underdog. Yeah, let me do that. I'm gonna hand you this. Here we go.
Oh, wow. We're moving on now.
Yeah. I don't want to spend everything on M because we want to be diverse and we want to appreciate everything.
So we have another lens here. Oh, Jose's going to get the camera back over to my side.
So we're switching systems now, although we're going to be bouncing around, like I said. So don't feel like you have to stop asking M questions or whatever. Please don't. There's my cap. Here it is.
There we go. Okay. This is the Leica 11-23. Full name, Super Vario Elmar T 11-23 3.5 to 4.5 aspheric. It's kind of a mouthful. But the lens itself, I think, is quite the underdog. This is an L-mount lens, as we can see here, an L-mount lens for the APS-C system, which is either TL or CL. And let's just jump back here. Now again, this gets, I don't know, maybe not the same kind of love that other TL lenses get, like the 3514 that we just gush about because it's amazing, or the 60 macro, the Apo 2.8, great lenses. The 23, great lens. The 18, which is on there, great lens.
Yeah.
But the 11-23 doesn't get that much love. And maybe, again, because it's at the periphery of what most people use for picture taking. So most people are going to be in that, call it 28 to 90 equivalent space. And 11-23, because it's for APS, this is equivalent to a 16 to 35. It's not super fast, right? Again, this is a 3.5 to 4.5 lens, variable aperture. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that Leica chose to prioritize size and weight over constant aperture. But it is noticeably smaller than the SL 16 to 35 Vario.
Which I didn't bring, but that lens,
Which we didn't
that
bring.
lens could eat this lens, and
It could, just like
you
swallow
wouldn't
it all.
notice it. Yeah.
Now, yes, it's an underdog, let's say, if you have a CL, and this is a great option to put on there because it's just so flexible.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about more specifically, and where we really see this
Got it?
underappreciated, underutilized, and I think this one, we're going to give a shout out to our colleague Gabe. Now, Gabe is a professional wedding photographer. He owns an SL2. He uses it professionally for weddings almost every weekend. And he doesn't want to use the 16 to 35 because of its size, but he needs wide angle coverage when he's shooting in the event. So what does he use? He uses the 11-23 on his SL2. Because basically, the great thing about the generational leap from the SL601 to the SL2 is the fact that in crop mode, instead of 10 megapixels, you've got a full 20 megapixels on the SL2 in crop mode. That's just about the same, all things being equal, as a CL natively at 24 megapixels. So you're going to be getting very similar quality But the one thing you get here that you don't get there, and we mentioned earlier about the 135, you have the in-body image stabilization. So this becomes an image stabilized 16 to 35 equivalent at 20 megapixels, which is actually ideal for event photography and similar purposes because you don't necessarily want or need 47 megapixel. So it kind of works out best of both worlds. Likewise, if you're shooting video, because that was another reason, if you're shooting video on here, you can use this lens as a video lens, especially if you've got a gimbal and you don't want a really heavy lens. So you get to use this on a smaller, like handheld Ronin S or something like that, rather than putting it in a massive, really heavy gimbal setup. So 11 to 23 on an SL2, highly underrated, great lens, great image quality, and very compact package. And I think also a fair amount less expensive than a 1635.
Yeah. We sell these pre-owned for like 1700, and 1635 is pre-owned or $5,000. So I don't even know, but they're a lot. So this is, I don't know. I did the original review of this lens on Red Dot Forum on the T-Type 701.
Yep.
And I loved it then, and I still love it now. And that was years ago.
It's got great contrast, great color.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. So excellent. We have another TL lens. We're going to keep the TL Vario train going that David is on a roll. And we're going to keep the theme of using them on SL2s because that's what we like to do.
So I'm going to show this one off here.
Yes.
Jump to
it's quite very well worn.
Oh,
but I grabbed this one on purpose.
Yep.
Because I want you guys watching, guys and girls, everyone, to see we're not just talking out of our whatever.
No,
we use this lens.
This is pretty well used.
Look at this thing. What is it, David? Tell us.
This is an 18 to 56 Vario Elmar T, again, 3.5 to 5.6 actually. And 18 to 56 translates to a 28 to 85 millimeter focal length. So this is your kind of bread and butter, middle of range, normal zoom, but notice how small it is.
And light, which you
And
can't
light.
obviously see
Sorry, I got it backwards
in the
here.
video, but it's extremely
very,
light.
very light, but still substantial. It's still made of metal. This is not a plastic fantastic. And it mounts because it's a TL mount lens. It is a native. And interestingly, these are a bit older, so they actually dash T instead of TL.
Yeah, we got these when the original T came out, and we still use them. And this has never been serviced. This thing works like a champ.
Works like a champ.
Yeah.
So look how small that package is, and let's jump back to the close-up so you can see there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice
super
and
small, super light.
For a normal zoom, because a lot of people ask, they don't necessarily want the size of the 24 to 90, but they want similar reach. And the 18 to 56 makes, again, a lot of sense on an SL2. You've got a 28 to 85 with excellent optical quality on 20 megapixel image stabilized
And
camera.
I will answer Bill's question. The CL or TL Vario lenses are made in Japan. So Leica designs them. They have a team in Japan that oversees their construction. I think that the primary reason is, well, two reasons. One is just the quantity that they need.
Yeah.
And also to keep the price in line with an APS-C system. Because if you look at the price delta between an 18 to 56 new and a 3514 new TL, which is made in Germany, is significant. So yeah, that's a good question though. So I do think that the TL Varios are grossly underrated on an SL2. And it took the SL2 being released to have that viable crop mode at 20 megapixels for us to really
to feel that way.
appreciate that. Yeah.
And well, I can easily group in the last Vario TL lens, which is the 55 to 135 Apo.
Yeah.
Again, fantastic lens,
Yeah.
super, super light. We talked about these lenses at length, both in the APS-C episode as well as the L-mount lens episode.
Yes.
And you're going to get an 80 to 200 equivalent on your SL2. So that's another viable alternative versus, say, the 135 that we spoke about at the top of the show, if you have an SL2 kit and you want to have a longer lens but don't want the weight and size. But you will sacrifice megapixels for that convenience. If you go with the M lens route, obviously you get the full frame.
Sure.
But these are both great options. And, I think for me, it comes down to what are you shooting the most of? What do you need all those pixels for, or what do you believe you do? And actually, this is a question that I don't know off the top of my head. Can you use multi-shot mode
No.
with an APS lens?
No. Only full frame lenses.
Okay, so
Sorry.
unfortunately,
Maybe one day.
Unfortunately, currently you cannot get around the resolution difference by doing multi-shot on here. But maybe that'll change in the future.
I mean,
We'll
my
see.
next trip, which I'm taking in a month or so, will be with an SL2 and a couple of APS-C lenses. So, I mean, I don't need the 47 megapixels. I'm only going to bring like a shoulder bag, my own Union Street, which I've shown on the show before, and a laptop. So I just don't need, I'm just shooting for fun and for social media and for emailing my friends photos. So I'll take the weight savings over the extra 20 megapixels, 27 megapixels in this case. So,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
also the ability to bring a smaller bag. So it's
Yeah.
just a matter of always balancing all that. But I still want the stabilization.
yeah.
I still want the viewfinder. Still want the speed. I want all those things. So
And remember, when you mount one of these lenses on the SL2, they feel like full frame lenses in terms of the viewfinder experience, because the viewfinder is only showing you the active image area. It's not it doesn't show you in a crop, in a dark box or anything like that. You're seeing the full image. The only way to tell is, it says in the box, it says APS-C rather than 35 millimeter.
yeah, which is nice.
What do we?
I want to show the one of two surprises that I have. So this is not a product. This is a concept.
Oh no! Here we go.
And I invented this word today, although I'm sure it's been used before, which I call pandification, like panda bear, the animal. It's not a real word, no. So I think this probably started with the M6 Panda, which was a silver chrome M6 with black dials and switches on it. So he looks like a panda bear, right?
Yep.
Black and white. Now, Dave and I have been selling Leica accessories for a very, very long time. And it's always the same thing. You buy a black M240, you get a black thumbs up and a black lens and this. You buy a silver M10, you get a silver thumbs up. And I'm always hesitant to recommend people to go a different direction because I get it. I get the aesthetics. And I get that, but I also like to have a little fun. And if you've watched any other episodes where I'm showing these wild red and green bags and all this stuff, you know that about me, that I just like to mix it up.
You might even have a haiku on your wall.
You might even have a haiku if you're one of the lucky few that's gotten one of those.
That rhymed. Good.
There we go. That's a freebie. So I have pandified an M10 monochrome to a slight extreme, which I will then dial back progressively. But
All right, let's see it.
this
Show.
do we have the close up on me? Yes, we go. So this is my Panda monochrome. David would call it an abomination. He's just jealous. He didn't think of it. Now, again, this is an extreme example, although I would gladly shoot this. So what is this? This is an M10 monochrome with a 3514 FLE in black with the hood from the silver 3514 FLE. Let me get the focus here. There we go. With a silver thumbs up, and I even grabbed the silver base plate from an M10. I wanted to grab the silver hand grip, but I didn't have one, so this is my substitute. Now, I also have, which I didn't put on in time, a silver strap as well.
I think I'm hurting myself by biting my tongue so hard right now.
No, I know, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reality is what you would do is use a silver lens, and then, no, I'm going to put on the 1.4. I'm just going to switch the hoods. This is the 35-1.4 in silver that I cannibalized the lens hood from. Obviously, I'm being slightly absurd, but I also have a silver Kumaru soft release on here.
Okay, now I can get behind this one.
Just look at the top. Yeah,
I
forget
like
about the ridiculous bottom plate. But if you actually look at this,
That's nice. That's nice.
I think this is beautiful. I think that it's harmonious. I think the white text on the camera contrasts really well. It's definitely not discreet by any means.
But I like.
But-
See, I like this.
It's classy.
Yeah.
And it's pretty. And any camera that Leica made in silver, you can find silver accessories for it, and conversely, black. This also works with the Q, the original Q, not the Q2. The original Q was made in silver. You can get a silver hood, silver thumbs up. Not a silver grip, unfortunately. Silver UV filters that Leica's made, but not a lot, not in 49. So I think I want to see the comments. Oh my! Oh man, I'm having a good time. So I think that what I'm encouraging you to do, and what I'm saying is underappreciated, is not going to this ridiculous extreme that I'm going to, but
Yeah.
don't always just follow the path of least resistance when it comes to building out your kits. Have a little fun, play with a little contrast. I've actually seen people put safari colored thumbs ups and lenses on black cameras, because what's cool is when you have that continuity between your lens and your thumbs up, So like silver or safari lens, black camera, safari thumbs up, silver lens, black camera, silver thumbs up. So I like that continuity.
But I'm gonna say just right off the bat, I like silver lenses on black cameras, but this black lens silver hood thing, that's for me that's a bridge too far.
More for me.
I
think you're just not having any fun. But I think that when
and you can also have a pre-pandified lens. Just throw that on there. That would look cool.
let's see. Oh yeah, let me pop that on there. This is the 90 Summicron in silver. Here we go. And I'm using the M10 monochrome as an example, but of course
you can use any
M will work. So again, obviously I'm being ridiculous, which is not unusual for this show.
See, that looks good. That looks good.
This is just one way to both express yourself a little bit and just take your Leica gear a little less seriously while still having a good time.
Right.
I would ask if anybody has done anything like this to email me a picture, because I would love to build a little album of like pandified or contrast colors.
So someone has, so Jeffrey says he has an M10 monochrome with a silver thumbs up and a silver grip.
That's amazing. Send me a picture of that. See, I don't have I wanted to bring the silver grip. I didn't have one.
Robert says very Miami.
Very Miami would be green and purple like neon, and pink and yellow. But speaking of fun colors, this takes me to the next thing. We're just going to do all the fun colors at once.
Do it. Get it out of the way.
Now, if you are a Leica shooter, you probably are familiar with the concept of a half case, or what Leica calls a camera protector. Now, I have here a Q2 monochrome, which is a very boring looking camera. It's beautiful.
I think we like to call it sexy and understated.
And it's discreet and it's understated. Now, with Mother's Day coming up, I think this is only fitting. Leica, for reasons I don't fully know, unless they've been consulting me in my sleep, makes some unconventional colors for their camera protectors for the Q2. And the one that I brought with me today is a color I'm sure a lot of people watching this are going to be just scrambling to buy. What happened? Did we disappear? Can you hear me? Why is your stuff broken?
No, Jose, are we still online?
You should be. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I think it was just my Wi-Fi went out.
Oh. Okay.
Let's try that. Oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
You're freaking me out.
Don't worry about it.
We've done so well. We're just about to talk about the big reveal. Okay. So, what was I going to talk about? Right. So, what everybody is going to be lusting after, I'm sure, after this episode is the pink Leica Q2 camera protector paired with the Leica Q2 monochrome. We want to talk about Leica Underdogs. This is like the Leica under the underdog. Now, I know I'm being a little ridiculous here, but everybody's Q2 monochrome looks exactly the same, except for mine right now. And if you really want to be a bold trendsetter, you pair it with the matching pink Leica neck strap, which is, of course, upside down, embossed with the Leica logo in pink.
Now hold on. This is very Miami.
If you want to talk about a Miami camera combination,
oh my gosh, this is it right here.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, this is it.
So I have been wanting to feature these pink accessories for like 32 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
And
I also love the underside of that.
Oh yeah, the underside is like
really
a
nice.
like a robin's egg blue. It's actually quite nice.
So nice.
So I mean, I'm having a good time, and I love that these exist. I don't need people to use them every day, but I love that Leica, this company that's like so serious and so intense,
that they don't take themselves so seriously.
So much history would make a bright pink Q2 half case.
It looks good too.
I think it actually looks very good on the Q2 monochrome because there's no red dot. I think the red would contrast weird a little bit with the pink.
I mean, you also notice like real men can pull off pink shirts.
That's right. I have at least one pink shirt, I think.
I've got pink shirts and pink ties.
I think we're going to wear, I should have worn pink today. So anyway, those are my two like shocking color accessories that I was going to show.
Not at all polarizing.
On the show, and I dropped the shot today.
Does it come with a Chihuahua? Actually,
Ashland has a Chihuahua
maybe.
mix, so that's beans. One day, yes, you can have them. A little ridiculous.
Barbification.
You know, you gotta have fun.
Oh, barbification.
What is photography if it isn't going to be fun, right? That's what I say. At least for us.
And listen, if you're doing street photography and you have a bright pink case on your camera, you have basically taken the perceptible threat level down to 0 because no one's gonna be like, that guy's a serious photographer.
That's right. They're like, what is that pink thing? And like, oh, he's having a good time. I love it.
Hiding in plain sight.
That's right.
Under the radar by being right in your face.
That's right.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so that was exciting. So let's bounce to something else.
Now let me ask you a serious question though.
Yes.
What other colors does that come in that might be more practical?
Black, brown, red.
Are there any other fun colors though?
They made a pale blue. I don't know if that's still part of the catalog or not.
Okay.
But it's definitely
Not as wild as pink.
yeah. And for the Q, they made one in yellow. I know that. I didn't bring that. I should have. Anyway, let's take a tangent and talk a little bit about camera and lens storage. I'm gonna have David talk a little bit about this.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Which is, so we're getting a little more serious now, but we're going to talk about some of the underrated, or what I would say is miscategorized or misused Leica and other brand cases and carrying accessories. So what do we have here, David?
You probably have the model number at hand, but
This is the Artisan and Artist ACAM 75 in black. Let's get a close up when the camera comes over to you.
somewhere.
There we
Nope.
go. Okay.
I feel like I'm playing hide and seek with the camera. Here we
There
go.
it is. Nice.
There it is. It's very lightweight. I mean, this weighs almost nothing. And what is it? Well, it comes with a little bungee strap here. And this is
This
a
is
little-
brand new, so it's got
yes,
it's got that.
this is what they come with.
I wanted to get a nice one. I didn't want to get our beat up.
Right.
one,
So you know that this is Artisan and Artist because it comes with that very understated, black kind of cotton canvas exterior, and it's got the red interior, which makes things really easy to find inside. So if you happen to drop your lens cap, you can easily spot it,
Yeah.
unless you use, a red pouch. But this can be used either for, this particular one. Let's jump back to a bigger shot so you can see it. This particular one, here's our Q2 monochrome. And this is a perfect fit for a Q2 or Q2 monochrome or first generation Q. And what's great about this is if you're not going to be packing, because the thing about a Q is you don't really need a camera bag for it. There's no lenses, there's no whatever accessories. The only thing you might carry is an extra battery or two. So having it in a pouch means you can throw this in your luggage or your carry-on. If I'm traveling and I have a small underseat rollerboard, I can just throw this right in the bag. It's nice and padded. Doesn't take up a lot of room. And then when I get where I'm going, I'm gonna have the camera on my shoulder on a strap. And I don't need a bag. I don't need to carry that around. Or maybe I have a messenger bag that I've got my laptop in. And again, I'm out shooting with Q. I'm not shooting with a full SL system or M system with how it's interchangeable lenses. So this is a really nice, and I'd say underappreciated way to carry the camera.
This is like a nice blend between a case and a wrap, because it has some structure, so you can keep some little stuff inside. Can you show on the inside again? But it's not like it's flexible and
let's get a close-up
stretchable
there.
enough so you can fit a variety of different things in it.
I'm going to turn it over so the light doesn't go.
There you go. Yeah. I think that looks really cool. So this is the Artisan and Artist ACAM 75. This is the black one. It also comes in red. Just a cool, high quality little guy.
You can also use it for lenses.
Yeah.
So I've got here a Noctilux. And because Josh is, what he's saying about the wrap hybrid approach, because it's not a structured case, I can just tighten it down a little further, wrap it a little tighter, and now I've got a great lens wrap. I would say not necessarily for, a really small, a really small M lens like this might be a
Well,
little...
you could probably just wrap that bunch twice.
This is going to segue to our one of our favorite underappreciated M lens accessories, because maybe not one, but two could fit in here really nicely.
Yeah, if you used, which let's combine two cool things together. This is the Optech back-to-back M cap. It's essentially two M lens rear caps glued together, except nicer, and it is rubber gasketed around the mount.
Hold
so
on,
it
wait
keeps the dust
for the
out.
close up there.
There you go. We've talked about this before. I still feel like it's underappreciated. These are really inexpensive. And so it's two M lens rear caps
less
stuck
than
together.
$20.
Yeah.
Less than $20.
Gasketed here so it keeps the dust out. And this would work really well with the ACAM 75 because it effectively makes the lenses larger so that they can fit better in a case like that. So let's pop that in there.
Go back
Get the
here.
wide shot here.
Yeah, so now I have two of these back to back. Now, in a camera bag setup, what's nice about these is that you can drop it in vertically and they take up the size of a, let's call it
Bag. Well,
a traditional lens.
yeah.
right?
Yeah, a lot of bags have height that you waste
They have height.
with an M kit.
Exactly. This allows you to take full advantage, and because they're back to back, the lenses never hit each other. So they're fully separated, they'll never impact. It also lets you double up and carry 4 lenses in the space of 2 lens pouches. Okay, now in the bigger pouch though, perfect in terms of that filling that length up, and then again I can squeeze it down, kind of roll it up like a sleeping bag, if you will. Get my bungee around here, and now
make it look nicer. There you go.
I'm making it look like I normally would make it look. And then I've got my little lens roll here, and
Super, super handy.
yeah, and I can throw this. By the same token, let's say I have an M camera with 1 lens on it. I could use one of these, and I could put 2 more lenses in another pouch, and I'm traveling pretty light.
Yeah. Yeah. I love these little things. I use them all the time. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to show our store demo because it's like ruined. It's so dirty. So that's the ACAM 75.
And the back-to-back.
So this is by Artisan and Artist. That is by Uptech.
Yep.
All right. Now I'm going to talk about kind of a segment of products that I like, which because Leica has such a diverse range of cameras, compacts, APS-C, Q, SL, there are tons and tons of like ancillary bits and bobs they generally will announce when that particular model is announced. And Leica doesn't really do a great job of saying what else those cases work for, or those accessories work for. So they'll come out with a Q2 and they'll say, here's a new Q2 case. I'm like, well, cool. But the reality is a lot of these items are cross-compatible. And Leica doesn't make, generally, camera bags or a lot of stuff like that. But sometimes it's nice to have a Leica branded bag or case just because it looks cool. And I like that, even if it's just subtle.
And generally, the quality is very good.
Exactly. So there's a lot of products like that. I'm going to talk about just a couple right now that I think are maybe misutilized or just underappreciated, going with the theme of
Before we move on to
Yes.
that, we've got a question from TJ. Will an M camera with a lens and an EVF fit into that pouch?
Let's see. So here's a M10 monochrome. We'll pop the VisaFlex on there. And we'll pop give me the FLE. Let's see.
With that atrocious silver bottom plate.
So here's the M10 monochrome FLE with the VisaFlex.
I feel like that's going to be a pretty tight squeeze.
I probably wouldn't put it in here with the VisaFlex attached because I'd be afraid of it not getting like
Wrapped.
hit in the wrong spot.
So, yes,
it's a tight fit. I wouldn't.
But if you take the EVF off and put it next to it, it'll fit nicely.
Yeah. So with that actually, I can talk about an accessory while we in this topic.
What do you got?
That is the Leica actually makes
Ah.
a dedicated case for the VisaFlex. Now the VisaFlex comes with a little pouch. This is the Leica. Well, I'm going to give the official name. Leica case for VisaFlex leather brown leather. Catalog number 18835. Let's get a close up of that. And here we go. And you can see it is embossed with the Leica logo. It actually has a connector, these sort of snaps on the back that allow it to be attached to a camera strap or a very thin bag strap, depending on what you've got.
So it can sit on the outside.
And on the inside, it has this little mechanism that if you pull this, it actually lifts the VisaFlex out. So
They did that on the Monovid pouch.
You're spoiling
Oh,
my fun
sorry.
here. So the VisaFlex, I'm doing a bad job here. Sorry. VisaFlex fits in like that. And we can here we go, put that in there. And it's got a little magnet right here. Now, if you had this, let's go back to the wide shot, and you had the ACAM 75 with your M10 monochrome, you could just plop.
Right
That
next to
fits
the lens, yeah.
perfectly.
It's hard to see in there, yeah.
This. Can you get a close up, Jose? It fits perfectly in the ACAM 75 on the side, and because it's in the case, it won't actually damage anything. But of course, you could also put it on the camera strap and wrap that around.
You could even put it on the bungee on the outside.
And then when you pull, let's get back to the close up here. You pull this. See, hold on. There we go. And you just pull this, and it releases it, and you can grab it.
Nice.
So this will fit other things like we can get back to the wide shot. Thank you. This will fit viewfinder magnifiers, memory cards, analog batteries. I don't think it'll fit like an M10 battery.
No, I think it's too small.
It's probably too. It'll fit a Velux battery for sure, or a Q battery. Let's see. let's try like a CL Velux battery. Let's see if it fits in there.
Yeah.
It's a tight fit. So this is primarily going to be for smaller than battery accessories or for the VisiFlex. EVF does not really fit in here. The EVF2, I have tried that. I just like it because it's Leica branded, it's nice brown leather, and it has the strap attachment. A similar product that Leica makes to this, which fits kind of the same stuff, the little bits and pieces, is this guy. This is probably one of the most underdog Leica products that they currently make. This is the Leica Deluxe 7 flash case. What, you might ask? The Leica compact cameras, the Deluxe 7 and the Deluxe 109, came with these little camera hot shoe flashes, little tiny things. And they sell black, brown, and red cases, optionally, that fit the flash. And these, much like the VisiFlex case, have the snaps. Oh, we can show the close-up of that. They have the snaps on the back for your strap. They go on a camera strap or a very thin bag strap. And then they're Leica branded on the front. Now, unfortunately, it is too small for a battery. I've tried, although maybe a Velux battery would fit in here. Let's see. I don't think so. So I wouldn't use it for batteries, but for film would fit. For analog batteries, memory cards. Again, if you find any like little accessories that you want to have nearby, let's say you want to just throw this on your camera strap and have it with you all the time without a bag. Super, super handy. I picked the red one because it contrasts well on air, but they also make black.
Okay, let's be real. You love the red.
Yeah, I kind of do. So this is the Deluxe flash case. I'm going to talk about two more, and then we'll go carry on, I think. So there's... Did I miss something?
No, go for it.
So I'm just got to run my roll.
No.
I've been going all the yeah.
Just go. Just go.
Another cool...
I'll keep an eye on the comments here.
There is a line of accessories for the Q2 called the ETAS line, ETTAS. They have the ETAS pouch and the ETAS bag. They come in a couple different colors. This is the ETAS pouch in coated canvas midnight blue. And this is basically what Leica would have used to call an ever-ready case. It's a really nice material. It's like a treated canvas with some leather accents. And the thing is, this doesn't just fit a Q2. You could fit, where's my, oh, it's in the ACAM 75. I could definitely comfortably fit an M10 monochrome with an FLE. Mm-hmm. It has the cutouts on the side for the strap. It even has, keep the close up real quick. You can see it just kind of like, you just kind of like pull it out. I'm doing a bad job like that. So it's kind of like got magnets right here that helps it close. It even has a little nylon, hold on, I'm gonna get it. There we go, a little nylon loop. You can actually thread this through the camera strap if you want and have the bag or the case hanging off the camera strap if you wanted to keep it around. I generally use this as an insert for other bags, or if I'm gonna be holding the camera around my neck for a while, but I don't want it to be exposed, I'll put it in one of these. Now again, Leica markets this for the Q2, but the reality is this will fit any M camera, any Q camera perfectly, or TL or a CL, although it's a little bit tall for that. The other ETAS product is another cool item, which I also grabbed in red because why not?
Always red.
There is always a shortage of like high quality small camera bags.
Yes.
Especially if you want one that again has that Leica branding on it, which this does right here with the Leica logo embossed. This is the ETAS bag in red. I don't know if Jose you can focus or zoom out or something because this is pretty big.
Move forward a little bit.
So there we go. So okay, so this is the ETAS bag. So what's cool about this one is it has a strap attachment here. If you wanted to hook this onto a larger bag or a belt or any type of strap. But of course, if you open it up, you'll see here it has its own strap lugs, if you will. And it comes with, this one's new because I wanted it to look nice. It has a gasketed zipper, really, really nice gasketed zipper. So it will be weather protected. It just has this cool handle on the top. It comes with its own strap, which looks like, it's strapped in a bag. It's really cool. It's got like this red racing stripe on it. But of course, you could use any strap on this bag. You could even use a camera strap if you want. Here's the inside. Fits Q, M, any camera. And it's got a super secret zipper pouch on the top. I have to thank you, Ashley, for pointing this out. I didn't even know. For memory cards, lens cloth, any other little doodads you want to take with you. So
Passport.
passport.
Yep.
So this is the Etis bag, which again comes in a couple different colors. This is the red one. You know, it seems random, but the reality is when Leica says
It's hard to find that size bag.
when Leica comes out with a Q2 bag and they say this is for the Q2, everyone with an M camera just ignores it. Well, go wait a minute. You can easily just put an M10 monochrome in here. In fact, this bag is deep enough that you could fit an M10 with a Noctilux. Even a 75 Noctilux would fit in here, really, really, really nicely. And if your setup's a bit too small, you just get a couple of bag dividers, which everybody has, and stick them in the bottom and just size it up. So Etis pouch is awesome because it's a pouch, it's an insert, it's a bag onto its own. It can clip onto another bag. Super, super, super nice.
It's an underdog.
It's an underdog. And the very last thing I'm going to talk about right now, I promise this is the last, well, it's not really the last.
Esoteric bag thing.
I promise the last one.
What is
And
this one? What do we
This is one of my favorites. This is the official name. Hold on.
It's Josh's toiletry kit.
This could be. This is the Leica Celux Andrea Leather Handbag Black. This is one of the most underrated Leica branded cases and or bags that they make. Now, it comes with this kind of not very useful strap, which is removable, and I would just take it off and use a different strap. This is a small enough bag that you could put a camera strap on here. Like you could put a really nice Arte Mano black leather strap on here. Just take the key rings and thread them right onto the strap lugs in the bag. It's got the Leica branding on the front. It's got a really nice pouch on the back for like memory cards, batteries, whatever. And then on the inside, it has a built-in divider. This will fit, and the divider folds flat. It doesn't come out. The divider folds flat. I need to like do this, like this. Here we go. So you see the divider folds flat. You could put an M body in here. You could use this for M lenses, for a CL, any small, either the body by itself or a small body with a lens like the CL with the 18.
Well, here, you got one right here.
Yeah, so here's a CL with the 18. I'm gonna pop it in here, like so.
Ooh, look at that.
Here you go. You want a Leica branded CL bag? This comes in they call it Cemento, which is like this off gray color, and some other colors. It comes in red. This is the black one.
Can you fit another lens in there?
You
think it would fit, or
no?
no?
I don't think so. No, not unless it was another 18, which would have been very useful. And this will fit an M body, not with a lens, maybe a Summicron. So, you know, people, they see this and they see this kind of weird looking strap and they go, this is just for point and shoot cameras. But the reality is, no, this is a leather Leica camera bag that fits tons of different stuff, comes in multiple colors, and has a removable strap. Tell me where else you can get one of those right now. You can't.
Right there.
I'm going to stop talking about bags for a minute.
Please do.
Because I've gone on for way too long.
Yes.
About
I think
that.
that's it. So let's talk about not cameras for a minute.
Yes.
What about a not camera, not bag, but optics? What do we got?
So, are there any comments I need to address before I... Probably not, right? I think we're doing good?
No.
Okay, good. So,
Not about the bags that you were talking about.
this is really worth an entire episode, which we will do this year.
Yes.
But probably the greatest Leica Underdog line of products is, at least among
photographers.
Leica camera users, is Leica sport optics. Binoculars, spotting scopes, etc. And I brought two of my personal favorite and also what I think are the most useful for photographers. I brought two of them with me today. First one, Leica Trinovid 8x32 HD binoculars. These are true Leica binoculars made at their factory in Portugal, which is where they make all their sport optics. They're incredibly small. You can see they're just about palm sized here. There we go. They are ridiculously high quality. They're fully weather sealed. You can actually dunk these if you need to. You can rinse them in the sink if you have to wash them off. So they're rubberized. They have, of course, the classic Leica expandable eye cups if you don't wear glasses. Diopter correction here, focus here. If you are a Leica photographer, you therefore understand and appreciate the benefit of Leica optics. But you probably don't realize that there's a whole nother category of Leica optics you can look through all day long, and that would be the Leica sport optics. And I just happen to like these binoculars because they're under $1,000. They're ridiculously high quality. They're super durable.
And Leica just changed their warranty terms.
Yes, when you buy a pair of these now, you get a 10-year passport warranty. That means it covers accidental damage with the exceptions of like fire, loss, theft, intentional damage.
Yeah, but it's like a no-fault physical damage
Yeah,
warranty.
for 10 years, and then a 30-year limited warranty. So if something happens in 30 years, they'll fix them under warranty, which is insane.
It is.
So 10 years accidental damage, you drop these down a cliff, as long as you can retrieve them, they will fix them or replace them. So that's the first thing I want to talk about is the Trinovid 8x32 HDs. I go with the 8x, not the 10x, because I find the 8x magnification is a lot easier to hold steady.
It's a lot less eye strain because they're not, with the 10x magnification in a 32 size binocular, they can be a little shaky.
Yeah.
If you're looking for 10x magnification, we definitely recommend going with a 10x42 because that's going to be a lot more stable, but it's also going to be a bit larger binocular.
Yeah. The next...
We'll cover all that in our sport optics
and the only other sport optics piece I brought, so don't fall asleep, is what is in this cool little black tube, which is half of a binocular, also known as a monocular, or as Leica calls it, a monovid. This is a monovid 8x20. This is essentially one half of a binocular. Now, if we get a close-up here, the cool thing is the case
I love this case.
is designed that when you open it, it actually presents... I didn't put it in all the way.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I did a bad job.
Oh, Josh. Waiting for the
What
big
it's supposed
reveal
to
there.
do is present the monovid to you. Hold on, let me do it. There we go. Sorry guys, here we go.
Nice.
I'll do it one more time. And it comes out like that. Now I'll show the monovid itself. It's extremely small, as you can see. I mean, here is what's like a known. Here's an iPhone. You can actually.
Oh yeah.
It'll actually goes inside of an iPhone. So there's a good. This is a 11 Pro. It's got a focus ring here. It's got a expandable eye cup here, just like the binoculars do. And what's really, really cool, and what a lot of people who probably own these don't realize, is in the top of the case, if you lift up this little piece here.
Super secret compartment.
Can we get the close up still, Jose? Is this little object, and you unscrew it. It's actually, there's actually a thread in the case itself. Here we go. Come on.
We're getting there.
It's a little long. I don't want to drop it. What this is this turns your monovid into a magnifying glass. So it is effectively like an L Pro for the monovid. So you have both a monovid and a magnifying glass in one, which is awesome. So this is the official name. The Leica 8x20 monovid case with close-up lens, catalog number 40390. Again, under, I think, what are these, $600? I don't even know what they
like
cost.
that, yeah.
They're not that expensive. Still Leica optics, still made at the factory in Portugal, and incredibly small. I mean, you can see I can almost just hide the whole thing in my hand. So,
And here, and you can look like a fancy spy when you're just like doing this.
that's right. It is truly a Leica underdog because people just don't know about these things. And it's awesome. I mean, this will actually fit in probably any of these cases I showed today, like these little camera inserts. You just slide that in there.
And I think for when you say, okay, how does this apply to photography? Certainly in my photography, I love landscape photography. It's really nice if you're going out, you may not be able to actually physically see where you want to go or, what a scene might look like and is it worth hiking to get there? Well, that's where sport optics really come in handy because you can, I think you enjoy nature, enjoy the wildlife. I may not be a bird photographer, but if there's a giant eagle flying overhead, it's kind of cool to watch it through excellent Leica optics. Also, binoculars, for those used to looking through one lens, when you have binoculars, it's very, very three-dimensional if you haven't looked through it before. The object just basically pops off the background, which is incredible. But it also helps with scouting locations and, if you really want to go out there or not.
Someone asked about,
how-
now Kirsten has an amazing Leica binocular buying guide on Red Dot Forum, which I
does.
recommend you
She
read. We'll
does.
talk about that more when we do our sport optics episode. But to answer one question, it's 1x is 50 millimeter equivalent. So an 8x monovid gives you the field of view, if you will, of a 400 millimeter lens.
And a 10 would be...
But we will, I don't want to
500.
spend a whole episode with that. We're going to do an episode on sport optics sometime this year, I promise.
Now,
Yeah.
it's true because there is some some talk about ultravids and noctivids in the chat.
Yeah.
So we're showing the televid because it is a bit of an underdog where it doesn't have, this crazy.
The Trinovid, you mean?
What did I say?
You said televid. That's the
I'm sorry.
spotting scope.
Yes,
Trinovid.
the Trinovid.
Yes.
The televid is the spotting scope, which is great also. But the Trinovid happens to just be a very low-cost entry into the world of Leica sport optics. You can certainly spend 3 times the price on noctivids, which are pretty much the best available binoculars, bar none. Brighter, sharper, clearer, amazing, practically indestructible, their construction. So yeah, they are. If you're looking for the best, there is a lot less of a price delta between an entry-level Leica sport optic and a completely, reference class, top of the line.
Yeah.
Less so, I'd say, than a lens, because getting a starter entry-level lens in Leica is, let's call it $2,000.
Yeah.
And getting, a 75 Noctilux is like, close to $15,000.
Yeah.
So there's a huge price delta there between the kind of the basic and the exotic. Here, it's like $1,500, $2,000 between the entry level and the best.
Yeah.
So if you say, yes, I'm interested in sport optics, but I just want the best, well, Noctivid's the best.
Yeah.
But this is a great place to start.
There you go. So we will do an episode on sport optics. I just wanted to tease it a little bit and talk about products we just felt were underappreciated. I'm going to go a totally different direction.
Those?
I'm not, almost.
Not yet? Okay.
I want to talk about a couple more little doodads and bobs and just fun things. Now, if you own an M lens, you know that it comes with the classic, I don't even have one here, the Leica leather lens case. It's like the leather cylinder. But what you probably don't know is that there's one M lens that doesn't come with that case. That would be the 28 Summicron. If you ever bought a 28 Summicron, you open this little tiny box and you realize there's no leather case in there. It happens to come with a little pouch. Now, why am I talking about a little pouch for any reason? Well, I like,
Why are you talking about a little pouch?
That's true. I happen to like anything with the Leica logo on it. Sue me. Actually, there's probably some lawyers watching, so don't sue me. And if you've watched any episode, you know I have an affinity for obscure, unusual, or comically useful but useless parts and components. So you can actually buy, for not a lot of money, the Leica pouch, or the bag, if you will, that comes with the Summicron. And it's, even though the Summicron's so tiny, a lot of M lenses fit in that little pouch. I have it right here. So, no, this is, I want to talk about something cheap for once, This is the Leica Summicron pouch. Why am I showing this? Well, here's an FLE. Look at that. It's a little drawstring bag. Ta-da! Now I have a nice, snug little bag for my Leica lens. But of course, very importantly, it says Leica on it, because if it doesn't, how would I know that there's a Leica lens in there? So there's a random little accessory. Another cool, kind of a one-off accessory, we can go back to the wide view here, is, now, the original M monochrome is, we're not even going to get into the cult following that camera had, but there is one unique thing about the original Leica M monochrome, that's 10760, if you're keeping track of catalog numbers, that it shares, or that is something it doesn't share with anything else Leica has ever made. That is the neck strap. You may be asking, what do you mean? All the Leicas come with the same. No. The original M monochrome came with a neck strap that Leica has never used again on any other camera, as far as I know. They've used some that are similar. You can actually buy this strap by itself if you want to be cool. I think if you have an M10 monochrome, and you want to be really cool, you buy the original monochrome strap. It's a part. It's not a standard Leica catalog item. We get a close-up here. I like this because it's embossed with the Leica logo, of course. It is a matte, sort of not, looks a little shiny under the lights, but it's really not that shiny. It has the sort of Leica punch-out adjustment system, and it's a random thing, but I wish more people knew about this. So now I'm telling you, if you want to be a cool Leica nerd, and you wonder, a good trivia question would be, what's the only Leica production digital M camera that came with a strap that was never used on anything else? And that would be the original M monochrome.
There'll be a test later.
It has no stitching, so it's super discreet. It's just smooth, black, matte leather, which I love. Another strap that everyone does know about, I think, but I think is underappreciated is the classic Leica nylon, I call it the bumpy strap. If you buy an M10 or an M10 variant, it comes with a non-adjustable black leather neck strap. It's very nice. It has Leica on it, but it's not adjustable, and I don't find it that practical for my personal use. I don't know. So for years and years and years, Leica cameras came with the bumpy strap. And I call it the bumpy strap because on the back of it,
Bumpies.
it's bumpy. It says Germany on it. How awesome is that? This is, here we go. It says Leica on it. It's like the old school Leica writing too,
well,
which I
this
love.
came with an M7.
Yeah, so this is the Leica 14312 neck strap. Still available today. It's not expensive. It has the D-rings on the end. It's completely adjustable.
These are the easiest to change out
You don't
by
need
far.
no split rings, no
Nothing.
nonsense. These are great. I put this on the Q2. I put this on the M10 monochrome, on the M10R. I put this on the CL. I will put this on tons of cameras, especially if you want to be changing straps often or switching to a wrist strap.
Anything that has eyelets. You can
Exactly. This is fantastic. So this is 14312. You know, you can give me a hard time talking about expensive lenses all day, but I'm happy to get just as excited about the very useful strap.
It actually is really useful.
Yeah.
I mean, they made this for decades. I mean, this thing is
Decades and decades and decades. And you can still buy them new, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Are we doing on time? Oh, we have time still. David, why don't you talk about our next category here? So we talked about one underappreciated category, which was sport optics. What is, this next category is also going to get its own episode eventually,
Yes.
which is what, David?
Well, you may not be aware of this, but Leica doesn't just make expensive, interchangeable lens cameras and Q cameras and full frame cameras. They also make a range of more affordable, smaller, more compact, more automated compact cameras. And I say you may not know about this because we don't ever seem to talk about it.
I know, we really do a good job of avoiding them.
We do.
Not out of any reason other than it's just not.
They're an underdog.
Yeah.
They're an underdog.
I shoot with one of these quite often, actually the other one. And I travel with this. I took this to Europe last time I was there. This exact one, actually. And what are these, David? Tell us.
So first off, we've got the Deluxe 7. And these cameras actually are quite good in their own right. I've used several generations of these. What I typically use the Deluxes for, historically, when I've gone, well, it's no longer a thing, so we'll take a moment of silence. Okay, that's enough. So Photokina was the biggest photo show in the world, held every 2 years in the fall, and I covered it from 2006 till 2018. I've been to every Photokina since, in that time period, and did event coverage. You can look at the old articles on Red Dot Forum where I would basically go around, take pictures of all the new stuff, post the pictures, write about the thing, interview people at Leica, and get on the ground firsthand accounts. Almost all my coverage from all those events through the years was with various iterations of Deluxe cameras, because I could just wear this with a suit jacket or in my attaché case because I had to have a laptop with me. I really couldn't have a full camera bag with me. That's not what I was there for. But what I needed this for was taking pictures of products, of screens through viewfinders, and the Deluxe proved to be the fastest, most capable, most flexible tool to do that. Partly because it has an excellent macro mode where I could actually get up really close to the back of screens and sometimes even into viewfinders like that, where I could see it. It's got a very usable zoom range. This is a 24 to 75 on this one, and it does come with a nice f1.7 lens.
And a manual aperture ring.
And a manual aperture ring, so it's kind of very...
I mean, it's electronically coupled, but it's a manually adjustable aperture ring.
Right, or full auto. So kind of like the Q control. And a manual shutter speed dial, again, with an A, and a manual exposure compensation dial. So this is very, kind of Q-like in terms of the control structure. Even has a manual focus ring that you can configure, which is nice. It has variable aspect ratios, things like that. You can use a regular flash in it, and it has a built-in EVF. And in terms of sensor size, this is actually bigger than your typical compact camera. It has a micro four thirds sensor in it, similar to what other manufacturers, Olympus, Panasonic, Fuji, use in their kind of middle of the range cameras before you get to APS-C. And it's very capable. So it's kind of an underdog, though, because really we end up talking about the SL or the M or the CL. But this camera, in its own right, is quite good. I mean, even its low light performance at 3200 ISO is excellent. And I know Josh will probably tell you he's made, 2 foot by 3 foot prints from not even this one, the previous generation of Deluxe, right?
The reality is that we will do an episode on these, but I'm going to give the short version, which is if you come into the Leica store Miami right now, there is a stack of prints sitting in the front of the store, 20 by 30 inches. And there are a number of prints from the Deluxe and Velux cameras that are 20 by 30 that when you look at them, you would say, oh, you shot it with a CL or even maybe an M240 when they were shot with compact cameras. So there's a big disparity between the perception of these cameras and the performance of these cameras, which we will cover in a dedicated episode.
It's quite good, though.
But that disparity, in my mind, makes them underdogs.
Yes. And
So-
how flexible they are just for kind of quick travel is very, very nice. Now, I will say for a lot of people, and Kirsten has a great review on the previous Velux.
And the Velux 5
And
as
the
well.
Velux 5.
Yeah.
So this is the latest iteration of the Velux 5. It has a little flip-out screen. This one is not a micro four thirds. It is a 1-inch sensor, which is a little bit smaller. But there's a reason for that because this lens has... Is there a battery in here?
I think
Maybe.
so.
Nope.
I took it out.
You
Sorry.
took it out. Oh, right, because you needed it for the...
Yes, it's right there.
I was like, wait.
It's right there. It's right there. Same battery as the original Q and the CL, by the way, the DC12 battery, 19500. So easy to find batteries.
And the biggest selling feature of this camera, or one of the biggest, is its insane zoom range. So this has a 25 to 400 millimeter equivalent focal length lens. It is image stabilized. It's very fast. And this camera will shoot, I think, 20 frames a second. It's pretty quick. It has a really nice size, large EVF, which, switch it there.
Yeah, I went to Switzerland a couple years back, and I took the Velux 5 with me, and it was so nice to have something super light. We did a bunch of walking around some of the major cities there,
It is very light.
and I also didn't want to bring $20,000 worth of stuff. Just, I wanted to be a little bit safer, and I wasn't there. It wasn't a photo trip. It was just a fun vacation. And I have a couple of 20 by 30s in the store from this exact Velux 5 that I'm proud of. I mean, we went to this cool, the Gelmerbahn. It's like this cool thingy with things and stuff.
Ooh, things
Like
I love.
it was like a dam with a mountain. And, it was awesome. Anyway, that's enough about that, I think,
Right.
because we are going to do an episode on these.
Well, I would say this in
Yes.
terms of, I'm just going to summarize this.
Yes.
When my parents were looking for a camera that was lighter weight, that they could take traveling, going on cruises and things like that, Velux. My own sister, who has 4 kids and takes pictures of kids, but also was actually, has neck issues where she didn't want to carry a big DSLR anymore. I said, look, you got to get a Velux. Velux is going to be where it's at because it's going to give you that kind of DSLR capability, but in a really, really lightweight package that's super fast, gives you that focal length range. So my nephew playing soccer, perfect. You can really reach across the field. And she actually ended up using it professionally as a summer camp photographer for 2 or 3 years running. And she was taking 1,000 to 2,000 pictures of all these kids every day with a Velux. So it actually is a really capable camera.
Yeah.
And if I recommend it to my own family members, it's pretty good.
Well, we're assuming you're like your family, so,
Yeah. And then I do want to point out one other kind of killer feature about these cameras, which is they both do really high quality native 4K recording, video recording.
Good point.
And these are excellent, vlogging cameras where they're really small and light and that you can put these on a little selfie stick or something like that. And they're actually really phenomenal. It's like, I think 100 or 150 megabit.
But I promise you we will do, because there's going to be questions about these, which we're not going to bother with, because we are going to, we'll answer. If you could email us, we'll answer them. But what I
Yeah.
mean is, I can spend an hour on a lens cap, so I can easily spend 2 hours on these, which we will do this year. So stay tuned for that, because if you want to learn more about the compact or the sport optics,
Stay tuned.
both will have their own episodes.
Yes.
I promise. I want to talk about a couple of rapid fire little bits and bobs.
Yeah, well, you got more. You got more things hiding.
I have so many things hiding. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try to be efficient since we're getting toward the end of the night.
What's the big one over there? What is that?
Oh yes, this is one of my favorite underappreciated Leica bags. This official name. Hold on, is finding the Leica something. Hold on, where'd it go? I thought I had it on here. I definitely have it on here. Here we go. Leica system case, comma, small, comma, leather, stone gray. I'm not naming these things, people. I'm just reading them. This came out, I believe, with the original T, if my memory serves. And it is a leather, pretty structural, hard-sided camera bag.
You can hear it. It's like a drum.
Leica embossed. It actually has little feet on it, which I think is awesome.
Those are cool.
If you're out in the city and you want to put this down without scuffing up the bag, these are great for that. It also helps it stand up so you always access it. Keep the close up, Jose. It's got little buckles on it. Here we go. When you open it up, take out the strap here. The strap is currently disassembled, but it's like buckles into itself. There we go. I'm making a mess. And you can see, like any camera bag, it's got inserts. Now, what's a little bit weird about this bag is that this one insert is actually non-removable, which if you are used to fully configurable camera bags will throw you off. Once you get used to it, the nice part about it is you don't have to deal with the Velcro and it's not going to shuffle around. So what I usually do is put like an M with a small lens here, because I know that no matter what, as it's pushing against it, it's not going to move around. So just think of it as a pouch or as a bag, or as a non-movable part of the bag. The rest of the bag is adjustable with Velcro. So again, these small bags, they're hard to find. They're hard to find nice ones. They're hard to find unique ones. And then even harder to find one that's got the Leica branding on it. So this is catalog number 18761. Yes. So if you just want to play with something cool, it comes with a really nice matching strap that's adjustable as well. Unfortunately, not removable.
That kind of rigid style case with the compartments.
Yeah.
It's very retro. It's
Yeah.
like very 1950s, 1960s feel.
Another case that definitely is an underdog is they make these for a few different cameras, but I have the one for the M10.
Are you going to demonstrate?
Well, I'm not going to stand up because then you're not going to see me. This is the M10 holster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a misunderstood case because the reality is, if you use a neck strap, this is not the case for you. I'm just going to say that right now. Do not buy this if you use a neck strap. What this case is designed for is quick and easy access and storage when you have a wrist strap. Just think about it. If you're shooting on the street and you've got a hand strap or a wrist strap on the camera, what do you do if you want to rest the camera? Do you bring a whole camera bag? No, because the whole point of using a hand strap is you're mobile and you're fast. But if you want to get the camera out of your hands, either to use your hands for something or just take a break, this is where the holster comes in, because this is basically like a very, very small camera bag, meaning it goes over your body and it rests against your side. It goes cross body. And the camera, it is a holster. So the camera literally just, here we go. I don't know if it'll fit with this on there. Let me make sure.
No, it should.
The camera literally just slides in. I don't know if we can get the close up of that.
There we go. Yep.
My lens hood is crooked. There we go. So the camera literally slides in, but you can see the reason you won't want to use this with a neck strap, because half of the strap would be like buried in the bottom of the case, so it's not practical.
It wouldn't go in very smoothly.
And it gives you get this cool little
safety.
Little. Oh, it doesn't want to. It's giving me a hard time. Oh, there we go. I just didn't have it all the way.
Perfect. There you go.
Sorry, doing this backwards. So okay, M10 monochrome. This is the M10 holster with the FLE, and this goes over. So and it has a little snap on the side. So when you're not using it, doing this backwards, it's protected. It won't fall out by mistake. Look at that. And then when you want to have quick access to it, it actually has another snap on this side. So this is a snap on both sides, and it snaps out of the way, so it's not dangling around, bouncing around. So for hand strap users, wrist strap users, this case is fantastic because it allows you to rest the camera, get it out of your hands without having it in a bag, without having it put away, and where you can quickly grab it again. So let's get to the wide shot. You can see it here. It's about as minimal as you can get for a camera bag. if you
And
will.
if you wanted to use an EVF on it, you could use this.
Well, I don't think it would fit on there, but you could put, I've seen people put it on here,
yeah, yeah.
actually.
Right.
You could put the VisaFlex inside the VisaFlex pouch and have it hanging off of the snap bar here, which is pretty cool. So that's the M10 holster. Really an underdog because we don't sell a lot of these, and I get it. It's not for everyone. It's not for most people. But that's not what the show is about. The show is about shining a light on things that I think are underappreciated.
Does it come in pink or no?
It does not come in
No,
pink.
it
This is
does
the only color it comes in. Or you could spray paint it pink. I wouldn't advise doing that. It probably would void your warranty, but there you go. Another sort of definitely underappreciated accessory, the compact cameras that David so well discussed come with very small strap lugs.
Yes.
Really almost too small for a full-size keyring. So Leica, of course, makes a line of optional accessory straps you can use with the compact cameras, but instead of key rings, they actually include, see if I can get this in the close-up here. Yes, we can. They come with these sort of like nylon or fabric loops. Now, you may be asking, why am I wasting your time showing you this? Well, this strap, which is a deluxe strap, will actually work. I probably wouldn't use it on an M, but CL, Q, Q2, no problem. And you may be saying, well, Josh, why do I want the nylon loops instead of the key rings? Well, for me, there's two reasons. One, you can go back to the wide shot if you want. The key rings could scratch the finish, and they'll certainly scratch the strap lugs, which these will not. More importantly, some have cases that go all the way up to the top of the camera don't play well with the key rings because the key ring is trying to interfere with the half case. So if you want to use a pretty substantial half case or protector, and you want to use a neck strap that won't get in the way, you can get a deluxe strap and it works beautifully. Again, I've not tested this with an M, so I don't know if this will hold the weight. I'll put it on my list of things to do.
It should. It should.
It should, but I have used this on a Q and I have used this on the CL without an issue.
And keep in mind, that's a very similar method to what Peak Design's doing.
Yeah, except that's designed to hold like 300 pounds.
It is.
So
it is.
I think that for any non-M camera, TL with this lug adapters that has the keyring style straps normally, if you want to get away from the key rings to either use a half case or just not to have metal on metal, the Deluxe and I think C-Lux line of straps with the nylon loops is a nice alternative. People don't know about these things. You'd have to go into a Leica store and actually see this and go, wait a minute.
That might work.
This one, so I'm giving catalog numbers here, is, well, okay, this is, I put 19562, that's the red one. They come in red, brown, and black, so you've got choices. Just search for Leica Carrying Strap Deluxe. Leica Carrying Strap Deluxe, that's how you're gonna find these things. Super, super cool, totally random, not $1,000, so, you know, the win-win. What else? I have a list, that's what I'm looking at here, because there's so
You do have
many.
a list.
Talk about this for a second, David. Just, it's so, we don't almost never sell any of these things,
The silver one?
but it exists. Tell the people about it.
That it's silver, or the fact that it's
The fact that it's
adapter?
silver.
Yeah. So everyone knows, I think we've covered this in many episodes, but this is an M adapter L. Obviously, it is an M adapter. Let's get the close up here. You know, it's an M adapter, except it's in silver.
It's
so
out
we
of
can,
focus too.
and it's out of focus. Right. So this is an M adapter L. So obviously it's got the 6-bit code reader right over here. An M lens goes on the front, and it mounts onto a CL, a TL, or an SL of various generations. So I'm going to show.
Well, why does this exist? David's going to show you exactly why this exists.
It was created for this camera, which is a silver TL.
This is a TL2.
Well,
in
this is a
case.
TL2, yeah.
Yeah.
But originally, the first generation of the T701 only came in silver, didn't come in black. Then the TL came in black and silver, and the TL2 comes in black and silver also. But let's say you want to use let me give me the prettier silver lens.
Oh yeah, here. This is going to be for sale, so don't drop it.
Now,
Look at that.
Yeah,
This is the opposite of pandification.
this is.
This is all about continuity.
Oh, we're missing the top.
Oh, I didn't. Well, I had the VisaFlex on there.
All right,
so
I'm just gonna cover that.
just cover that.
It looks better. There's usually a little plate here. So that is very, very.
Yeah, it's the same price as the M adapter L in black. So it's just a matter of if you use a lot of silver M lenses or have a silver CL or T camera,
It looks good.
it just
doesn't
looks
it?
better.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same price. You're not paying a premium for the silver one. It just, people just don't realize it. The black one's been out a lot longer, so
Yeah.
that's what they're used to.
So if you have silver lenses,
Where's the
you can
button?
get a matching
There it is.
adapter.
Yeah.
And
Super
even
cool.
if you want to use it, maybe the M here, and even if you want to use this as a pandified version.
That's an M camera, David. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm not. I'm sorry. If
I
I
just
want
want the record to show David just trying to put an M adapter L on an M10 monochrome.
Sorry.
Which clearly means he has not had enough coffee today.
I did not have enough coffee. Okay. If you want to pandify an SL, that actually looks pretty cool, and you don't need it won't be black. It'll match the lens.
That looks awesome. Do a close up of that. Yeah, that actually looks really, really cool. Sweet. This exact setup. You put a silver hot shoe cover on there, which I didn't bring, but they don't make a thumbs up in silver, but a silver hot shoe cover,
looks pretty good.
that thing would look, maybe like a silver colored neck strap.
Yeah.
So sick.
Looks nice.
I love it.
It's got my little
I need
Peak
it.
Design ears on it right now.
I'm going to see if I missed anything here. I'm sure there are a million other things. Oh, the most important thing, and this is not really an underdog, I guess, but the concept is, I think, underappreciated. We spend a lot of time talking about tools and cameras and lenses, and we've done an episode on this, but I still feel I want to mention it. Post-processing and workflow is such a critical part of the process that I would say editing, both in terms of organization and then making adjustments, is just as important as camera choice and lens choice. And I wanted to mention something that I have probably talked about maybe in the last episode that I wanted to mention again, is that we do partner with John Latimer. He's a professional printer, retoucher, Photoshop guru.
Educator.
He actually taught me Photoshop in college, and I've known him for a long time. And he does these one-on-one Lightroom sessions that we talked about before. And what we have realized is that over the hundreds of hours of one-on-one Lightroom for Leica training John has done with Leica shooters, looking at their files, looking at their catalog, looking at their system, he has crafted and developed a program designed around the Leica photographer to get the most from the files using Lightroom. And from August...
And Photoshop as well.
Oh, I don't have the dates on here. I think it's July 31st through August 1st, if my memory serves.
I'll look it up.
There's an online, so it's a Zoom workshop with John. 2 days, I think it's 4 3-hour sessions with breaks, plus you get a 1-hour one-on-one with him after as part of the workshop, where he's going to go over Lightroom for Leica. So again, this is not just a random guy teaching you Lightroom. This is someone who has spent several hundred hours with Leica photographers one-on-one, who has crafted and built up this program so that Leica photographers can get the most from their gear. So I know this is not really an underdog. I just really, it's something that's important to me. I'm not really involved in this workshop at all. I'll probably pop in at some point. I know John really well. And I like to see our Leica friends and photographers
Here, I'll make it very
getting the most from their gear. And that's not just about buying Noctiluxes and buying this and buying that. It's about taking those files and massaging them and making them your own. And Lightroom is what David and I use. We know that there's other options out there, which is cool. So if you have a chance, if you're free, if you can make the time, check this workshop out. It's going to be awesome. I'm sure David and I will probably both pop in at some point virtually and say hello. If you want to ask us more questions about, when the CL2 is coming out, you can do that. I'm sorry, I had to get.
You had to work that in
I know,
there
right? I
somewhere,
had to. And it's probably almost time to end, but I'm sure there's at least like 17 or 18 other things I haven't talked about.
Let's see here.
Let's see. Talked about the pandification, very important. Talked about the the pink protector. Did I talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Another small thing. When the Velux 4 came out, which was years ago,
It was.
it happened to use the same battery as the original Q, and of course now as the CL. Now, if you buy an original Q or you buy a CL, the battery charger has those power cords. And we've talked about the short cords and the angled cords a million times. It doesn't really integrate, or it's not as elegant as what the Velux 4 came with, which was actually a charger with integrated flip-out prongs. Now, again, because the Velux 4 and its successors share the same battery as the original Q and the CL, that means the Velux 4 charger will work with Velux 5, Velux 114, Q116, and CL batteries. You can buy this charger separately. It has the integrated flip-out prongs, great for travel. Now, again, the angle plug adapter works fine. This is just a little bit nicer, a little more integrated. And this is the DC12, BC-DC12 charger. That's battery charger, something 12, U for USA. And I think if you own a CL or if you own an original Q and you travel with it a lot, this is very, very handy because it's just all integrated. Obviously, if you travel internationally, another story. But domestically, this is super handy. So just the one little tidbit I wanted to share. And one other random thing.
What do you got?
Where's the Noctilux? Here, right here. Now, this is really, 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 really specific. But I don't care. It's my show, our show. We do whatever we want.
Gosh, you don't like any kind of specific esoteric, do you?
No, I hate it. I'm a very general guy.
Yeah.
But you guys love it, so it's okay. The 55-135 TL lens is an E60 filter and lens cap size, 60 millimeters. The 50 Noctilux is an E60 lens cap size. When you buy the 50 Noctilux, it comes with like a standard pinch cap where it has the little pinch parts on the outside. When you buy the 55-135, it comes with the TL style cap, which is the inner pinch style. What I love to do is put the 55-135 cap on the Noctilux because I just happen to like the inner pinch style better. I feel like it fits better when there's filters on the lens. It looks like this. I'm going to show you, hold it right up, straight up and down. So this is a 60 millimeter lens cap, catalog number 14032. This, of course, fits any lens that's 60 millimeters, but instead of having the tabs on the outside, like, I don't even have one here to show you.
No, we don't.
Like your traditional, like a lens cap, it is the inner pinch style, which I just happen to like on the Noctilux. This works on all generations of the 50 Noctilux, except for the...
Because it also means if you extend the hood,
there you go.
you can get the cap.
So let's say you want to leave the hood extended, you can still use the lens cap, whereas the cap with the outer pinch will not actually work with the hood. It's just a pain to try to deal with it. So this is about as specific as you can get, but I brought it with me as a point just to show something different. Or I don't know how many, there's no other E60M lenses that I could think of.
No.
No, just the Noctiluxes. So, man, we really went down the rabbit hole.
I feel like we kind of covered a lot of stuff.
I feel like I've been totally ignoring the chat. I've been getting into it. I'm sorry.
Just people saying yes or no.
Anything else that I missed? Or Jose, anything you saw that we need to address? I am curious what everybody thought about this episode because, I know that when we do an episode on a specific lens or on a specific camera, that's pretty straightforward. But when you get these kind of grab bag shows, it can be a little frenetic. But I happen to like that because it allows me to cover, and David to cover, a really wide variety of topics, especially things that we personally want to share with everyone. But we love feedback. We value it. Obviously, there's things that we talked about tonight that we wouldn't have done if we didn't get feedback. So,
I think, broadly speaking, we can certainly have put in other things that maybe we consider to be underdogs, but we've spoken about so many times before, whether that's the 90 macro or the CL and an 18, that this is not clearly as popular as an M camera,
right.
But it's so extraordinarily useful, and so practical and not loved near as much as I think it should be. I'm sure, Josh has a lens cap or, a hood or something that, a strap.
I mean, there's so much cross compatibility and there's so much, I don't know. I'm just a big Leica nerd and I just love diving into this vast array of both regular items and then these parts that are not part of the standard product catalog.
It's kind of a bit here and there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun for me to explore this, and getting my hands on all this gear all the time definitely gives me a perspective that I wouldn't have had otherwise, seeing what fits, what doesn't fit. Please continue to ask questions. Leave us a comment if you see something that you're curious how it works or what works, because it's literally the function of our existence is to try that stuff out.
I feel like it, yeah.
Someone said, I like bouncing on episodes like this.
Great.
Nice.
And the 1856 is an underdog, which is why we highlighted it. It's right here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the M holster, M10 holster. Someone said Peter Smythe.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
Peter. Seriously, like some of this stuff, even if you see it online, wherever that may be, it's hard to really know what it does or how it works unless you see it in action. And that's something we can bring to you guys when we do the show. So, yeah.
And keep in mind, most of the things that we talked about here, I mean, could be, considered much more budget options than, the fanciest, most exotic, highest end thing. Because the reality is, it's not always the most expensive, most exotic, most crazy item that is going to make, it's oddly as much of a difference as a better way to carry something around, or just something that's lighter that you'll take with you. So we're trying to make this a little more practical, right? It's not all about, you've heard the term gas, and all that. And it's not always about wanting the craziest, most unobtainium, amazing thing. Those are great things. But I don't think we should lose sight of kind of these nuts and bolts things that can just make your photography more fun, easier, or more pink.
Somebody said we need to do an episode of Leica merchandise, such as t-shirts and collector pins. I would love to do that, but of course you realize the challenge is how are we going to gather that up? Like, if somebody has a vast collection they want to share with us, they want to loan us, I'm all in.
Yeah.
That's one of the challenges of certain episodes. Like, we know people want us to do an episode about R lenses, but unless someone watching this has one of every single R lens they want to loan us for 2 weeks.
So many R lenses.
So I'm not saying we'll never do stuff like that, but certain things are just very difficult for us to plan. So, we'll try to do the best we can. And we love the suggestions because we wouldn't be here without people watching. So,
Okay, so why don't we talk about this in 2 weeks?
So
in 2 weeks, we're going to be coming back, and we're working on. There seemed to be great feedback on our lens focus type things. So, and we just love talking about lenses in way too much detail. And I know Josh just missed testing all his lenses, right? So we're going to come back with a lens specific episode next, but we're still tweaking the concept to see what's going to be the most fun to talk about and what we can get a hold of.
Yeah. I'll answer real quick.
What do you got?
What's the best cap for the 125L4 hood? That's a great question. Of course, you can go with the 14033 cap, which is the reversing cap when the hood is reversed. If the hood is extended, you want a pinch style 39 cap, which Leica doesn't make that I can think of. I think Breakthrough's cap is a pinch style.
It is, yeah.
So can you pull up on our website, David, the Breakthrough 39mm cap? You can also use Optech makes these little lens hood or lens hats. It's like a neoprene hat for the lens, and I've seen the real small ones. You can just feed it right over the top of the 12504 when it's extended. Just first break 39mm.
I did that.
Oh, maybe they don't make a cap. Okay, well, you want to try to find an inner pinch style.
Yeah, they make bigger ones.
I think Zeiss maybe makes one. I don't know. Nothing that we sell. That's the workaround. I just like that question, so I had to answer.
Yeah, sure. I know. The more esoteric, the better for you.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. So the usual. Let's do the usual. If you missed any of our previous episodes, you can check them out on our Red Dot Forum YouTube channel under the Red Dot Forum Camera Talk playlist. You can also search under various playlists. For instance, I have one on monochrome, on M system, on SL system. So if you want to do a deeper dive on any particular topic, we've got it all there. You can go to reddotforum.com for latest Leica news, really in-depth reviews, really technical articles, field tests, all that stuff. For instance, if you want to see how the M246 compares against the M10 or the M9 monochrome, we've got it all there for you. I also have an in-depth review of this camera when it came out, along with a lot of the other cameras here. And should definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already, because we post new content and you'll be alerted when we do that. Make sure to click the little notification bell and turn those on so you'll know when we post or go live. And just thanks for tuning in, as always, because without you guys, we would just be talking to nothing.
Well, we are talking to nothing, but we hope someone's on the other side.
Someone's on the other side of that lens right
I guess
there.
Jose is over there. So
Jose is off to the side a little bit. But this was fun. we get to talk about all sorts of weird, crazy, random stuff, which is what we like to do.
Yeah.
So, as always, a big thanks for tuning in. Big thanks to Josh for his encyclopedic nerd knowledge. Thank you to Jose for following our craziness around
Yes.
the set today, because there was a lot of camera movements. Thanks to Kirsten for keeping you guys behaved in the chat. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on May something.
May 15th.
May 15th,
Yeah.
for another exciting episode where we'll talk about some kind of lenses. And we hope to see you there. And until then, leave a comment down below and we will hit you back or email this guy. Until then, have a good one.
Good night, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Good night.